I hear this a lot. I hear, well, they filed an affidavit of inability to pay, which is commonly referred to as a pauper's affidavit. And so they filed this affidavit of inability to pay, but I know they can pay. I know where they work. I know what they drive. The stuff that they put in their affidavit, total lies, and I know it. And so I want to object because these landlords are smart and they also know how to read. And so they'll get online and say, what happens if somebody's got false claims in a pauper's affidavit or an affidavit of inability to pay? Well, the truth is the law does allow a process in which you can contest the affidavit. In fact, a lot of courts will give you a call and tell you, hey, they've just appealed. If you want, you can contest it because that is your right. And so today I'm going to tell you why you should never, ever, ever contest the pauper's affidavit. There's really a couple of reasons, but the first reason is because it is a waste of time. Okay. So let me explain what a pauper's affidavit, what rights it gives the tenant. Essentially what it does is it waives their filing fee. And you may be thinking, well, I want them to pay the filing fee. No, you don't. Because that doesn't come to you. You can't collect it. It only goes to the county. So if they're lying to anybody, it's to the county. And the responsibility to sift through those lies is entirely on the judge. So that really doesn't affect you. What they are obligated to do is pay rent into the registry as it comes due. But the first payment of rent is within 7 days, really within 5 days, but we're not going to talk about those rules. But within about a week of when they file the pauper's affidavit, they got to come up with 1 month's rent for that same month. As the next month comes due, they got to come up with that rent. And so their agreement by filing with a pauper's affidavit is to pay that rent. If you contest it, then that week when they have the deadline to pay goes right out the window. And so the timetable is changed. And so now there's a hearing, and the court's got to hear the matter, and the court may agree with you. The court may say, you know what? You're right. They're not entitled to this relief. Pauper's affidavit denied. And you're thinking, yes, I did it. And you're high-fiving yourself in the hallway. And then they get back on Google and go, what do I do if my pauper's affidavit is rejected? What? I get to appeal that? And I get a separate hearing that's going to delay my eviction appeal an entire month? I'll do it. And they always do. Right? And so if you get caught in this, this quest for justice, and you're like, well, they lied in their pauper's affidavit, all you're going to do is cost yourself an entire month of rent. Because if it gets appealed, and we're not talking about the eviction, we're talking about the contest to the pauper's affidavit. That gets its own hearing downtown, in Houston I'm speaking, but that gets its own hearing in front of the county court. It's its own process, and if that court disagrees with you, guess what? You've gained nothing. But even if it agrees with them, they've had an entire extra month before they've had to do anything. They're likely going to have enough to pay a cash bond, or it's enough time, that they've got enough free time that they're going to move out anyway, or they'll file a surety bond, which is also a low-cost way for them to proceed on appeal, and it just does not work in your favor to have lost an entire month of rent because you wanted justice. If somebody files a pauper's affidavit, wait for them to make that first payment. At the very least, they've paid for that month, and then hold them to the subsequent payment. If they don't make that second payment, you're entitled to a hearing for an immediate writ. That's a different video for a different time. But for right now, if somebody files with a pauper's affidavit and you're just champing at the bit, you really want justice, don't worry about justice in this case. Let them file, let them pay, and if they don't, send them out, right? You have rights. You can get a writ of possession if they don't pay within the time frame that's required by this kind of filing. But if they do pay, at the very least, you're recovering some of the rent that you would otherwise lose, right? So in a lot of ways, this is a helpful thing to you. It doesn't help to contest it. It only causes delay, and it'll cost you at least a month in unpaid rent. So I hope this helps. Good luck in the future. So send me your questions. If you've got questions about landlord-tenant law and there's something you're a little shaky on or something you just need a little clarification, post something in our Facebook group. Shoot me an email at ernie.garcia@attorneyeg.com. It's right there. Or post something in our Facebook group. If you're not a member yet, join our Facebook group. We look forward to you. If you look on Facebook, we are Texas Landlords. Finally, if you want to call, that's our number. Feel free to call us, and we'll be happy to help in any way that we can. And so keep your questions coming. I'm happy to answer as many questions as I can.